the act when defending.
I think it's like
people deluded. I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on. And just like Ian Wright said there, people deluded. I am indeed back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, of course, good night. With it being at the time of making this video, 5:41 people, I thought, you know what, let's see what the latest rumors concerning our football club are. Let's start with this. Edu knows his biggest transfer task as Arsenal target for new signings. Hopefully that is a centre-back, a right-sided centre-back, a right-back, 2 centre mids as a minimum. Again, let's skip past the jargon. You're not big up Simon Collins, but you know I'm not a fan of the unnecessary things. But for what it's worth, after Arsenal's final game of the season against Wolves, co-chair Josh Kroenke and sporting director Edu visited the home dressing room at the Emirates. Once they had seen the manager Mikel Arteta and the players, the pair then took a lift up to the director's box as the off-season officially began. Arsenal, though, have been planning for this transfer window long before now, and the club is determined to build on a strong showing this season, as everybody should in terms of planning. The Gunners pushed Man City all the way in the title race. I didn't even know the league table, and I still ain't looked at the league table, and massively exceeded their initial aim of qualifying for the Champions League. Naturally, there is plenty of excitement around the potential incomings, and Arteta and Edu have the full support of the owners, the Kroenkes, when it comes to their transfer plans. I'm sure a lot of you check out the rest of the vids and don't forget to comment throughout, and don't forget to hit the like button. Pretty sick and tired of hearing about Declan Rice. Big up Deckers, but unless you're signing for Arsenal now, I ain't really trying to hear none of this. But Arsenal have made West Ham captain Declan Rice their number one target, but they also want to bring in another midfielder, a defender, and possibly a forward. Oh, forward, is that a more physical number 9? Is to play instead of Jesus at times, to give us more depth, to give us a different option? Is that a winger to help with Saka? Because although Saka needs to play game in, game out, there are times he needs to be rested. Who knows, people? A bunch of things have probably been suggested. We don't know what the budget is saying. We don't know what the budget before outgoings is saying. We don't know if there's spanners in the works. Like, few people, unless you work for Arsenal or one of Xhaka's close allies, probably wouldn't have expected him, to depart the club. It seems like he's going by Leverkusen. Internally, it has been agreed that the final stages of this season showed the squad needs more depth, you think? Especially now Arsenal are back in the Champions League next season. Outgoings, however, will be just as vital as incomings. Clearly, we need to get a lot of players off the wage bill, and it's an area where the club has struggled in the past. Edu has spoken about needing to clean the squad during the initial phase of his project under Arteta, and he was quite critical when he spoke on cancelling contracts and how it could kill the club and things like that. We all know Aubameyang, Ozil ripped up contracts. There's definitely been a couple more players, Willian as well. There's definitely, I think, Mustafi and Socrates. I could stand corrected. Try to avoid one more year with the problem inside in the dressing room. Expensive, not performing. Clean it, take it out. Even I'm sorry if you have to pay to leave is better. And that could be Nicolas Pepe, because I don't know if we're going to get a loan fee I don't know if we're going to get a permanent fee. Obviously, he's on big wages. He's not done terribly at Nice, but he's hardly pulled up any trees. So maybe him and Cedric, if I'm them, obviously on the sporting front, you want to leave. From a financial point of view, I don't know if they're going to get a contract as good as they are currently on at the football club. So all options are, definitely with Pepe, there's a reality where we could get, ideally, we get a transfer fee, all his wages off the bill. We get a transfer fee and we pay some of his wages. We get a loan fee and we pay some of his wages, or it gets cancelled, people. It's not sustainable, and we're paying for years. Edu and Arteta have to hold the Aubameyang one and the William one. You brought them in. Where the Ozils and other players are concerned, obviously we have to flush them out. The Kroenkes want the club to be self-sufficient. Now, where have we heard that? Edu also knows that greater fees must be received for players Arsenal want to shift, and I'd say that's one area, excluding Joe Willock and maybe Martinez for 20 million each. Doesn't Joe go all the way up to 30? Some fans have a bit of concerns about Edu, because there has been some players that have been linked to with moves away, or some players we don't necessarily rate, had they have been at other clubs that have, Liverpool with Solanke and them kind of man, Chelsea as well, and maybe some others, they might get certain fees. I can't blame the Kroenkes for wanting to be self-sufficient. I don't want to hear that, because we're in the Champions League, we need to spend racks, but that is a good way of going about business, people. Like it says here, that is the exception rather than the norm. Exception, apologies. The argument before was that there's not been a market for one-to-way players. However, that is not the case this summer. There is significant interest in the likes of Balogun and Tierney. Again, they more want to leave than we want to let them leave. The talented striker scored 20-odd goals, and obviously Tierney's a good option to have. Arsenal should be looking to extract, I believe, I can't say that word, maximum value for them. Leno's move to Fulham last summer for an initial 3 million highlighted how the club can and must do better in that department. Apparently, we got extra 2 million as Fulham stayed in the division. So, yeah, we need to do a lot better at that. So it don't really say anything on anything really. We know the players that want to leave. We know the players that have been linked with the club, and we evidently know the next steps, or somewhat vaguely as fans know the next steps, if Arsenal want to make the season that's just gone by the minimum or achieve better. We've been linked with Okan Koku once again. According to Rudy Galetti, Okan Koku is now on Arsenal's radar as they look to add to their midfield this summer. I'm a fan of the Turkish international. I think he's got fire in his belly. I think he's very good technically. Obviously, he's wearing the captain's band, so there's some sort of mentality. He's been linked with Spurs. I don't know if that's the move for you. Liverpool's a great club to want to sign for, and Liverpool have been linked with him, with Thuram, the real Thuram, not Marcus Thuram, linked with PSG, his younger brother in midfield who's lit, Manu Kone, Wavy Dons, who I'll take at Arsenal if I'm honest with you lot, people. Apparently, he's averaging 2.6 shots per game and 2.8 key passes per game. And at 22 years of age, he's a good player. As we know, Reece Nelson spent time at Feyenoord and in Holland, so he could probably give a positive, glowing reference as well, people. Away from that, again, this article is just saying the same thing, that we plan to cut 9 players. Nicholas Pepe has been linked with move away, as has Cedric. Allegedly, Rob Holding, Kieran Tierney, Balogun, Charlie Patino, and players of that ilk have been linked with moves away. This article specifically says Balogun, Lokonga, Tavares, Cedric, Patino, Austrian Tusty, who has now been called up into the American squad off the back of a fantastic spell at Birmingham. Again, I don't think he's going to make the grade. Quick prof, if we can exploit the fact that we've got a partnership with Colorado, etc., make some peas, why not? It's obviously Marquinhos signed for 3 million quid. I don't quite think he's going to make the grade here, but he's young. If we can turn that 3 million into 13, keep it moving. Just like with Nuno Tavares, 8 million into 16 plus, keep it moving. Charlie Patton, I'd love to keep him at the club, grab a couple mil, keep it moving. Lokonga, Tavares, I'm not sure if they'll actually go permanently, but maybe loan fees really and truly. Again, I'd expect Marquinhos to be loaned out again, but I'm sure Arsenal will be willing to listen to offers for a number of players. It goes without saying Runnison needs to cut in. He's not good enough. Some players you can see are just not good enough, and I think we all saw a bit bit harsh because he made his debut against Manchester City, if I could be wrong. But you can just see sometimes that man are not ready. Some man are not good enough. We've been linked with Galatasaray centre-back Victor Nelson, and so have Spurs people. Again, we seem to be linked with quite a few players in Turkey, really and truly. Sasha Boy over there at Galatasaray as well, Arda Güler at Fenerbahce, and now my man. On the 26th of May, multiple reports coming out of the Turkish press stated Spurs had reached an agreement. Not sure if that is true, people. An updated report has said Arsenal and Sevilla are interested. The report states the centre-back has received interest from the Gunners and Sevilla, but there's no mention of Spurs. For what it's worth, for the Denmark international, he has a 25 million euros release clause. Apparently, offers between 15 to 16 million were met with rejection, people. We're going to be linked with a bunch of players. Very few of these rumors are going to be true. Fabrizio Romano has quashed these, but for what it's worth, apparently Galatasaray are preparing to make an offer for Nuno Tavares, people, and they're looking to make a decision after he plays in the under-21s Euros, where in theory, Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira are going to go. 2 players that have struggled this season or the season that's just gone. Hopefully they can use that as their mini preseason before we jet off to America, and obviously preseason ends with now playing in the Community Shield against City and show that they can do the job. Don't care where Tavares goes, just go and do well. He's had a mixed spell at Marseille. There's some moments in some games he's done really well, others where he hasn't done really well. I don't think there's been a significant improvement defensively, which are the biggest things, really. He needs to be more calculated, less free-spirited, if that makes sense. So it's sometimes signings just go wrong. Tavares, it didn't work. Lokonga right now, it's not working out. Who knows? Company said he's the next Yaya Toure. Burnley have been linked with a loan with an option to buy. Go and show us Yaya Toure stuff, and hopefully we get a better player for the following season. Now, I know some Arsenal fans, I'm a bit on the fence. I would take Sane and Gnabry. I think they're quality, but I just feel there's a lot of concerns around them. The wages they'll want, the signing on fee, the fees, and will they deliver? They both had a mixed period, but apparently sources have told ESPN that the agents of both Leroy Sane and Serge Gnabry have both asked to see Bayern Munich, apologies, new decision makers to discuss the futures of their respective clients. I can't imagine Tommy Tuchel wants to get rid of either, but you never know. Again, apparently Nicolas Pepe is no longer a part of Mikel Arteta's plans. Can't imagine nobody didn't know that. The player has just 1 year left on his contract, and although Arsenal are keen to garner a fee for him, plans have been made for the termination of his contract if required. And we've spoken about that for months on this channel. Apparently, Barcelona are ready to listen to offers for 70 million euros for Rafinha, the former Leeds man. People, I think he has struggled, respectfully to Leeds. He's a big fish at a small pond. Your ability, your tenacity, your quality, it doesn't mean anything at Barca because everybody's got that. But I do think he's ended the season well. And in terms of numbers, he's actually done all right. Arteta and Edu did want him. Maybe, second time lucky. Balogun is keen to be first choice next season. Can't begrudge him for wanting minutes. But with Jesus, Nketiah and Trossard currently ahead of him, that is unlikely to happen at Arsenal. As a result, Arsenal are open to selling him, with Leipzig understood to be among the front runners for his signature. Austin, Trusty, Pepe and Balogun are set to leave permanently this summer. Apparently, Leandro Trossard underwent minor surgery after the Premier League season, and that's why he has not been called up into the Belgium squad for the upcoming Euro qualifiers. Newcastle have laid the groundwork for a move for Tini despite Aston Villa's interest. Arsenal, above all, are one of the clubs interested in signing 27-year-old Torino striker Sane Gnabry, and have been following the player for a while now, valued at more than 10 million euros, a figure which cannot score off interest. I mean, I think his highest in the league is 12 league goals. I'm not doubting his qualities. I'm not doubting Mikel Arteta, but surely if we're going to bring in a striker to a more congested area, it needs to be someone with a stronger goal return. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Gunner Blog have said on Arsenal in the transfer window, I think there might be young players who we sign. We might sign a 19 or 20-year-old who Arteta thinks the world of, who could come into the first team straight away. I'm all for that, but we do need, and I'm not saying age, but we do need experienced players, kind of ready-made players right now as well, even if we're going to do the stars of tomorrow stuff. I think they're looking at a couple of South American talents. I would love, is it Marlon Gomez? He's done quite well at the Under-20s World Cup, centre mid, bring him, as they did last summer with Marquinhos, who hopefully that 3 million turns into more if he is not going to make it here. I think there are another 2 or 3 players of interest to Edu and his team that could be the new Gabby Martinelli, potentially. One of those guys who gets a chance in pre-season and goes on to and does well. Tierney is expected to move on to Newcastle with their monitoring his situation. Rob Holding has also allegedly been made available. Arsenal have offered a contract to Manchester City's Gundogan, who's yet to decide whether to stay with the champions or leave on a free transfer. Barcelona are also pushing hard for his signature, and you have heard he's got an offer from the Middle East. Arteta, courtesy of James Ollie of ESPN, wants to revamp Arsenal's midfield with 2 signings. The Gunners are also interested in bolstering their options at centre-back and right-back, and a new forward has been discussed too. Saliba's future is the immediate priority for new contracts at Arsenal. The club remain confident they can tie down Saliba, who has a year remaining on his existing agreement, also says James Ollie. If we remix this via goal.com and see what's being said, allegedly Arsenal face competition from Aston Villa and AS Roma to sign Telemans. That could potentially be free transfers for Roma. Apparently they're getting Aouar. They've placed a bid for Ivan Ndika, centre-back that was linked with us, and obviously Telemans. Nelson has agreed a new long-term contract, allegedly 4 years with the option of another one. We await official confirmation. Talks allegedly, a courtesy of Sky Sports, are progressing well over William Saliba. Balogun is wanted by Napoli to replace Osimhen. I'm not sure if he's cut out for that at the moment. Arsenal agree personal terms with Caicedo. We're trying to get Odegaard tied down. We're looking at Xavi Simons. We're the favourites allegedly for Declan Rice after Bayern Munich. He's made it clear he wants to stay in England. We've rekindled our interest in Milinkovic-Savic. João Cancelo has ruled out a move to another Premier League team, which kills his Manchester City future, even though it was bleak already, and a potential move to Arsenal. We are to submit a bid for Declan Rice after today's final, West Ham Fiorentina West Ham. I will be doing a watch along for that. Make sure you join me. We're in pole position to sign Wahi, a striker from Montpellier. We've made an offer of 15 million euros for Ivan Fresneda. We're looking at James Maddison, where you've got Spurs, Newcastle, and actually in the last 24 to 48 hours, Chelsea have been linked with him as well, people. Romano and Fresneda said Arsenal appreciate Fresneda since January, but told they have not sent any official proposal despite reports. No concrete negotiation at this stage. Race remains open with Borussia Dortmund also interested. Sports Witness says that we've tabled a lucrative offer. Now, apparently he has a relegation release clause of 20 million. And I'm sure he's an outsider to get in the Spain squad. To become an insider, you probably need to be playing in one of the top 5 divisions. What better league than the Premier League and under Mikel Arteta, a fellow Spaniard? So we'll have to see. People, let me know your thoughts on everything. Do you believe we'll get Rice, Caicedo, or anything? Do you think we need a striker or a winger? Do you think we need both? Just let me know your thoughts, man. Make sure you join me for the watch along later. Stay blessed, stay safe. Appreciative of you lot tuned in. I'm going to love and leave you lot. For now, I'm out.
There's always just that active red flag, defending.
I think it's like